All right, guys, so everyone that starts appointment setting always wants to land a role with a base salary. And I understand because it is great. I actually have landed several roles with base salaries of up to like 1K to 2K. It's very nice to have as like a backup on top of what you're getting as commission, okay? But it's getting notoriously harder and harder to actually negotiate that, especially as a beginner, okay? So I'm gonna run you through in this video how to do it basically, what it takes and what to expect, because like I said, I've landed a fair few myself, and as beginners, I know it's very hard to stick in the game if you haven't got that guaranteed income on the side coming in, because if you're being paid per sale and the lead flow is terrible, the closing rate's terrible, obviously you're not going to make a lot of money for the amount of work you're putting in, okay? So let me show you how to do this and also the mindset to have around it as well, because a lot of this is your mindset. Okay. With base salaries, the thing with that model is you are paid these for your experience and how valuable you actually are. Okay. It's not as easy to go into some random offer and demand a 1K base salary when you haven't got any leverage, any skill, or anything, especially as a complete beginner. Okay, and you have to understand that they don't want to pay you a base salary because they don't want to risk spending a lot of money on someone who might be bad at what they do. Even if you are pretty good, they don't want to risk it if you haven't got a good experience to back it up. And still, even then, if you have experience, they will still try and sometimes get you to do a 1 month free trial, not a free trial, like a 1 month paid trial of like a pay per sale or pay per appointment. And then they can kick in a base salary after that once you've proven yourself. It's very common, guys. It's nothing to do with you. I see a lot of setters thinking it's something wrong with their approach. It's not. It's just the market is going against base salaries for specifically DM setting roles. I'll get into that in a second, okay? But as a beginner, these are rare, right, to find, but they're possible. You can find stuff where they pay you like a $500 base salary, like 1K base salary to start with. It's just they're rare to find, okay? But they're not impossible. So I just want you to understand that before anything, okay? So that brings me to my next point is like you are gonna have to accept that when you start out in this space, you may need to do commissions only for 1 to 2 months to prove yourself, to eventually get that base salary, okay? But that's fine, because if you're on a roll with good lead flow, high ticket product, good closing rate, and you're being paid per sale or per appointment or both all at the same time, right? You can still make a couple of grand a month, guys. Like the base salary, it sounds scary doing commission only, but if you're good at what you do, which I'm sure you will be if you watch my content, right? Then you can still make a couple of grand a month with it. Like I've done pay per sale offers only before, and I've made like 3 grand in a month just by doing pay per sale on a very high ticket offer. Okay, so you can still make a lot of money. The base salary helps you sleep better at night because you have like coming in guaranteed every single month, right? But you have to accept, as a complete beginner starting out, you may have to do commissions only, but if you're on a good offer, then it's not actually that bad and you can still hit your goals. Okay, so just accept that. Okay. Number 3, with DM roles, it's harder because of AI and bad reputations of setters not doing that well in the past. That's why they don't want to do a base salary. That's why they want you to prove yourself before they negotiate a good structure. Because they've had setters in the past that they paid like a 1K base and the setter hasn't really performed that well. And also AI can, for example, B2C offers a lot of with a lot of lead flow and lead volume. AI can handle a lot of the monotonous tasks that the setters were doing and do it better, basically, right? So the leverage to get a base salary with that in mind is extremely hard. Okay, they've been burnt before, and also AI can do a lot of the monotonous tasks. So it basically makes you less valuable, right? There's still a way around it though. Number 3 is with DM roles, it's harder, right, to get base salaries because of AI and also bad reputations of working with other setters, right? So these guys are burnt, they've had setters that they've been paying a 1K base, $500 base, and they didn't perform that well. So now with the new hires, they don't want to put themselves in that position again, okay? So it's really hard to negotiate. It's a lot harder than it would have been like a couple of years ago. And also AI can do a lot of the monotonous tasks, right? So it makes the setter's role that they're doing, if AI can handle a lot of the actual grunt work, then that makes the role of a DM setter a lot less valuable unless you're really good at what you do, which you need to be doing anyway, okay? You need to be really good at what you do and not just a guy sitting there sitting DMs and copy and pasting scripts, because AI is going to replace you if you do that. That's a story for another day. But yeah, you have to understand that, like with DM roles specifically, it's harder, okay, because the value isn't there as much as it used to be because of AI coming in. And also people have worked with DM setters before, paid a base salary, and they've been crap. So now you're having to pay the price for them not performing very well. Okay, and it's just a game, guys. You have to accept that. So that's just with DM roles and base salaries. Dialing is where base salaries are normally at the most. Okay, you can find DM roles with base salaries. It's a lot harder, but with dialing and especially cold calling, that's where base salaries are usually at the most because it's such a high value skill, right? It's really in demand now because not a lot of people want to do dialing, right? And also you're being paid for your value and the amount of work you're putting in. The difference between dialing and DM roles, right, is dialing takes a lot more skill and work. DMs is just kind of just sit back, respond when you want to. You shouldn't be doing that anyway, but that's the thing, it's just DMing people, right? So to these people that are hiring you, they're not seeing that as such a high input, highly valuable task compared to dialing leads and turning a stranger from cold to warm into a booked call into a client. You'll be paid accordingly because it's a lot more work and skill. Now, you don't need to do cold calling for that. You can also do warm dialing, like warm leads into existing databases with leads that have already opted in. You're more likely to get a base salary doing that than you are with DMs. And also on top of that, because dialing is in such high demand and it has a base salary, it also likely pays more commissions as well. So you can actually make more doing dialing, right, than you can with DMs, and also work less. If you do 3 to 4 hours of deep work with dialing and you're being paid 1K base, 50 per appointment, 5% commissions on the close, that's a really good structure. Very possible with a dialing role. And you work 3 to 4 hours a day and you're booking like 3 to 8 appointments a day with like a 20-30% closing rate and like a 70-80% show rate. You can make 5K a month really easily. Okay, it's just nobody wants to do dialing. So as a rule of thumb, guys, if you want to find base salaries the easiest, go into dialing roles. Okay, appointment setting doesn't just mean sending DMs. It can also mean dialing. And that's how you can make the most money in general. Without a base salary, you're going to make more money doing dialing anyway, okay? Because the commission structures are much higher. But with the base salary on top, you're laughing. And that's how you find base salaries the most, is with dialing, okay? So if you're a complete beginner and you want to get a base salary as soon as possible, right? There's a few things that there's a few options you can take, okay? Number one, accept a lower structure and renegotiate after a month, okay? This is the most common that's going to happen. And this is for DM roles specifically as well. Sometimes it can happen with dialing roles, but to be honest, if it's a lot of work, dialing cold leads and they're not offering like a good payment structure, I'd walk away, okay? As a rule of thumb. But a lot of the time you're going to be doing a DM role, they're going to say 5% commissions on the close. As long as it's above 3K, I wouldn't entertain it if it's not above like 3 to 3.5K. You can say, yep, okay, cool. Well, that's great because I want to see what it's like for a month as well. Because if you guys don't have a good closing rate and a terrible showing rate, right, I'm going to get paid nothing and this is not going to be the offer for me, okay? So let's do it. And if it makes sense after a month and I'm performing well, let's do a 1K base salary plus 5% commissions on the close. That, honestly, on a good offer, 1K base plus 5% commissions on the close is a fantastic offer. There's actually a guy that I've been working with since December, just like you, right, beginner appointment setter. He landed a fitness offer paying a 1K base salary. He got very fortunate to have a base to start with, right? But it was 1K base plus 5% commissions on a 3K product, right? He's just hit, literally February now, so in January, he hit 3K in commissions combined, right? He hit 3K. It's a very good structure to have that, guy, right? So you could do like 1K base, then 5% commissions on the close, provided they have a good closing rate and a good show rate and there's a lot of lead flow. You're gonna have to do that to start with, right? 5% commissions to start with, and then you can renegotiate after a month of doing like a 1K base and then 5% commissions in the close. Once you've proven yourself, and that's just what you have to accept. That's number one. Number two is negotiate a lower structure, but with a base, right? So they can say, how about we pay you, I don't know, 6-7% commissions, 5% commissions for every close. You could say, how about you pay me $500 base and then 2.5% commission on the close. I wouldn't recommend doing that though, because you're kind of limiting yourself massively just to have that base salary, right? Provided again, the offer is good lead flow, good price point, and you negotiate that, you're going to be shooting yourself in the foot and making less money. So you can do that as well. Or they could be like, we'll pay you 20 per appointment. Or you could say, okay, how about a $500 base and then 5% commissions or 3% commissions. You can just try and lower their structure, right, in terms of the commission rate, but have the base salary to make up for it. You can try that. Okay, sometimes that can work. So that's number two. Number three, you can keep searching until you find one, right? They are out there, but they're quite rare. They kind of range from $500 a month minimum. Okay, so you can just keep searching, try and find one. You will find one eventually. They are there, but it's just a lot harder to find nowadays. Or number four, you can land a dialing role, right? and get base salary basically immediately, okay? Or if it's not a base salary, you're gonna get a very good commission structure because it's such a higher value skill than doing DM setting. But dialing roles are where base salaries are the most common, okay? You're always gonna be able to find base salaries pretty easily with a dialing role, okay? But make sure the company you're working with is dialed in as well, because base salary is great, but again, if you're being paid commissions, but like 5% commissions and they've got terrible lead flow, not a good price point, then you're just gonna make that 1K base salary every single month, okay? I know you don't want that, you want a couple of grand a month, 3, 4 grand a month, 5 grand a month, okay? So yeah, that's how you do it, guys. Just understand, like if you're a complete beginner, it's gonna be harder to leverage that for DM roles because of what I just said with AI and also being burnt in the past. But if you wanna be a dialer, number one, you're gonna make more money doing dialing anyway. But number two, like with dialing, base salaries are so much more common, okay? And I recommend to stay AI proof and make as much money as possible, do DMs and dialing, okay? Be hybrid. That's how you make the most money. That's how you get to 5K a month ASAP. If you want my personal one-to-one help to help you do this and get the exact same results that I got Josh, which I mentioned earlier, where he had a 1K base and 5% commissions, and he's just hit his 3K month in January. If you want results like that, my personal one-to-one help from somebody who's still in the appointment setting game to this day and actually knows what they're talking about, click the link down below, book in a call. I'll run you through exactly how I can help, okay? For transparency, that's a sales call, so you don't want to be sold to, don't click it, right? But if you're serious about making this work, book in that call, I'll show you how to do it.